Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Rumour Mill on Canon Chatter TV. We are back again after a week away from Rumours, but not a week away from the channel. We obviously had Lottie doing her own show on Thursday night. And I am delighted to be joined again by Lottie tonight. How are you, Lottie?
I'm good. Stephen, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. We have given G the night off as it is his daughter's birthday, and I am delighted to say we are joined by one of my favourite guys on YouTube and podcasts at the minute, who's Dan from the Sideline Talk Pod. Dan and me worked together on another show one night, and we've been trying to do something ever since and keep missing out just for one reason or another. So Dan, delighted to have you on. How are you?
Yeah, all good, mate. It's a pleasure to be on. Like you said, long time coming, but yeah, looking forward to it. Should be good crack, to be honest. It's never ending, these transfer rumours with Arsenal, is it? So
no, that's it. You know, we've talked about potentially doing sort of a roundup every day, but you know what? There's so much going on that it's easier, and I'm loving this format we do on a Monday night. We have a chat about all the rumours. Well, all the rumours that we can. There's that many that we sometimes will miss some. So there is loads to get through tonight. So with that said, let's roll the intro and we'll get into it.
Arsenal have gone through an entire league campaign without losing. The first time it's happened.
Okay, so do you know what? It's been 2 weeks now since Arsenal last played, which means 2 weekends in a row where Arsenal haven't been able to ruin our weekend. Dan, how have you been filling your weekends?
Less stressful. Let's put it that way. I think the same way as most Arsenal fans, less stressful. Obviously, I've got a little in the stuff, so yeah, family keep me busy. But it's been quite nice. I'll be honest with you. That last Sunday was a bit of relief. It was a bit of a gutting feeling as well. But that Sunday when football finished, of course, I think every Arsenal fan felt the same. It was the meanings to an end. Like, it was sort of bittersweet, to say the very least. But yeah, obviously Euros is going to come and stuff. But Arsenal will never get away from my mind. I'm always keeping an eye out on the platforms and the socials to see what's going on. But I've not missed them, if I'm going to be completely honest. There's too much work to be done for me to say that I'd like to see them back next week. I'm looking forward to seeing what's done over the summer. Obviously, we'll touch on a lot of that shortly. But yeah, I think I'm just feeling the same way. As I think the feeling's probably mutual across the board here and across the board elsewhere, really. I think I'm just looking forward to seeing what's next for Arsenal rather than what could be.
Yeah, absolutely. Lottie, how was your weekend?
Do you know what? It's just so calm. Apart from obviously all these rumours flying about, but it's just lovely. It's bliss. It's just, as Dan said, there's so much work to be done and dead weight to be shifted on, and then we need to bring in the right players before I say, yeah, let's go for the season. Let's go. Let's play next week. But if I'm honest with you, time August comes, I will be excited. I would have missed the football. I like the Euros, but I'm not too keen on them, if you know what I mean.
Absolutely. Well, for me, I mean, do you know what? As I said, it's been nice not having a weekend ruined. I went out on Saturday morning, and obviously we've got the whole still the COVID thing going on. But for me, it was nice. You know, life returned to a little bit of normality. My mate Mark, who's quite often joined us in the chat on the show, lives out in Madrid, had been home for a few days, and we went out Saturday morning for a coffee and ended up going to the pub for a couple of quick pints. And you know what? It was so nice just sitting there in the pub by the sea outside, having a couple of quiet pints and just relaxing without all the face masks and stuff like that. So, you know, it's great that we're starting to finally see a little bit more of that. And hopefully...
Was it worth the wait?
Do you know what? I'm not one that really goes out to the pub an awful lot, but I didn't know how much I needed to go out and do that until I actually did it. So yeah, it was great. And hopefully then, you know, life will return to a bit of normality. We'll start to see full crowds in stadiums. We'll start to see Arsenal have some decent results. And that would be good. So quick hello team, just about to tuck into some cake. Thanks, G. All right, so loads to get through. But before we do, guys, anybody that's watching live and who tuned in last Thursday night to the Lottie show, show Lottie some love now in the chat. Drop your comments in. Lottie, it was your first time hosting your own show. How did it feel?
Do you know what? I think the first 15 minutes I was very nervous. But once I thought, okay, I've got this. It was good fun. I mean, I've been buzzing off it since last week. I mean, the
Georgina
amount
and Jess were brilliant with you.
and the response from it was just brilliant. I didn't think it would be that positive, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Dan, I don't know if you've caught much of it, but I mean, for me, Lottie was the signing of the season. Was me getting her on board here?
Yeah, I mean, I've spoke to Lottie off there, and I said this was before I'd seen Lottie on any sort of channels. I said you should sort of do like your own podcast. And so when I saw the sort of tweet and announcement and the contract signed, shall we say, it was good to see. And yeah, I think last week was just a start of what it means to go on. Well done.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Keith saying natural Lottie, no sign of nerves, like you've been hosting for years. Right.
Thank you.
So I suppose we need to get into this and start discussing these rumours and more. Sorry, hold on. Decent results. The only way they will be good results, bucking up their ideas. Absolutely, they do need to buck up their ideas. Get some players in who can play a bit of ball. Yeah. So rather than a rumour as such, I think we need to start off and we need to address the Buendia issue. Obviously, the announcement came out late sort of Friday. It broke that it looked like he was going to Villa. And obviously, since then, Villa and Norwich have both come out today and confirmed the deal. And, you know, a lot of disappointed fans out there, including, I know you, Lottie. Dan, what's your feelings on this one?
I mean, firstly, I was a bit surprised that we've gone in for him now in terms of when Norwich were relegated, because he had just as good a season beforehand when Norwich were in the Premier League as to what he has last. So I was quite surprised to even see Norwich sort of willing to get rid of their best player when they've just been newly promoted. I was shocked in the first place to see all of this stuff. I didn't know how much of it was legit. So I never really know with Arsenal. I never know when to start getting excited. And the only real time when I actually started seeing legit sources talk about Arsenal was when coincidentally there was competition at hand and he was also in talks with another team. And that's when it's just like, oh, okay, I'm getting a bit hopeful now, but I'm also thinking, what do we have to offer that other teams haven't? There's not really many teams that have less to offer than what we do, with obviously no European football. So 35 million or 30 million, whatever, is a lot of money. So I'm looking at it and thinking it's a loss, and it's a bit embarrassing that the fact that a player's chosen Villa over Arsenal. I don't know what's gone on now. I'd like to know more details, if I'm perfectly honest, because obviously apparently we sort of matched the same money, but they just had better things on the table, which I don't understand. But that could be the way I see it. Arsenal's a team to join right now because, like we've just said off air, it's a team where we need to get rid of deadweight and hopefully rebuild and become Arsenal in European football again. So for me, it's a perfect time to join Arsenal because he could be the setting stone, if you get what I mean. He could be a linchpin in that team and sort of drive the team along and be a player to build the team around potentially in a couple of years' time. Who knows? But yeah, it's a great signing for Villa. Let's be honest. They're laughing. They've got Buendia, potentially Greenish still. We don't know what's going to happen with that now. And they've got a crack in midfield. So I'm not going to sound pleased for Villa because obviously it's gone badly for us. But I'm a bit 50-50 on it because I think there are players out there that we can sort of get for 35 million as well. So I'm not going to cry, but I'm more ashamed at the fact that it's been another team rather than us. If he'd have just rejected Arsenal, then fair enough. But it's knowing that he chose elsewhere. And for me, it's just the icing on the table, the icing on the cake, sorry, because it's a bit like a nail in the coffin to the way the season's gone. It's sort of confirming that we are as bad as what we think we are at the moment, that players are choosing the other move.
Lottie?
I'm not gonna lie, I am gutted about it. Whoever tuned into it when we first spoke about him, I was excited, and I don't get invested in Arsenal rumours very often, but I'd been watching him for over a year, like obviously the Championship for the season, and watching him I get excited watching a brilliant talent as he is. I mean, he's fantastic. I did feel he was the technical player that we needed. And no, I haven't forgotten about Smith Rowe. He's brilliant, but I did feel that he would have brought in some competition for him. Although the competition is already fierce as it is. I think with all this, with the rumours, the meltdowns from the Arsenal fans over Twitter and everything else, whether it's true or not true for our fans to be coming out and saying, oh, we're a dead club, we're this, we're that. And it's like, these are rumours. We need to remember these are mostly rumours.
Yeah.
Arsenal have not said a word. Getting transfer news out of them at this time of the year is like getting blood from a stone. It's not going to happen. As you said, business happens behind closed doors. Nothing happens at all. But I'm just disappointed. I'm very, very disappointed we haven't got him. But I would like to thank Arsenal for letting me keep my money for an Arsenal shirt as well. I don't have to go to the Armoury anymore.
All right. I mean, obviously, from my point of view, we had Chris Davison on a couple of weeks back with us on our first rumour mill. Chris, obviously, a good friend of the show. He lives up in Norwich, is a matchday steward there, as well as obviously being an aspiring journalist. And he's a big fan of Buendia. And I know, he was really, really hoping we would get him. The problem is, as you say, Lottie, we don't know how much interest there was, because Arsenal don't tell you anything. And they've always been that way. We conduct our business behind closed doors. And that's the thing. So many of these rumours they're rumours, and we enjoy talking about them, and we enjoy the debate over whether they would fit the team or whether we want them, in our team. But they are just rumours. And you wonder to yourself, how hard did we actually try to get him if he went to Villa over Arsenal? I do believe there's interest there. There has to be interest there. It was reported by so many of the bigger journalists that there was bids made and stuff. So, you have to believe there's interest there. I think, sort of reading between the lines, he's going to be a nailed-on starter at Villa, whereas I don't necessarily know that he's going to be a nailed-on starter at Arsenal. And I think that's the big thing for him, is he wants to be playing week in, week out. And I don't think he's going to be guaranteed that at Arsenal, because, if you look at it from an attacking midfielder point of view, we have Smith Rowe, who, for me, has a higher ceiling than Buendia. And that's a personal opinion. Then if you want to put him out in the right, where he does play a lot for Norwich at the minute, although he has said his natural position is that sort of attacking midfield, he does play out in the right. And we have Pepe and Saka, and you're going to drop them, so again, it's going to be on a rotation basis. So he's not going to play week in, week out. And I think that's a big reason why he's probably chose Villa over Arsenal. There is as well, obviously, then the sell-on clause as well. There's talk that there's a 10% sell-on clause that Norwich will get 10% of any future fee, which I think, Arsenal aren't too keen on. I don't know why, because we let most of our players go for free, so it's not like it's going to cost them anything. But so, all in all, yeah, I'm disappointed that we're not getting Buendia, but at the same time,
I think that's another reason. That's another reason as well. I forgot to touch on that just before we move on. That's another reason why I'm not too gutted, because I know the positions he plays in. I'm quite confident at the moment. I think I'm more at the moment. I know we've said we need a cam. We need a cam. It's prioritised. But the fact that he plays out wide and in the centre attacking, for me, it would be bittersweet again, because there would be someone there that's been made unlucky to, get dropped if he was to come in, because like you said, he'd want regular game time, and it would be the worst time of all to drop Pepe. And let's be honest, Saka's not getting dropped anytime soon. So yeah, it's literally 50-50, because if he had come in, it would have been nice. But the best thing for the player, like you just said, is probably for him to be elsewhere, just so he does have that better opportunity.
Absolutely. I mean, the funny thing is, if you look at sort of all the big rumours are in and around that sort of attacking midfielder and the wing options, which are actually, if you can guarantee Smith Rowe was going to be pretty much fit most of the season, you wouldn't worry too much about it because you could play Martinelli at 10, you could play Saka at 10 as well and rotate them that way. It's the fact that you can't rely on Smith Rowe being fit the whole season is the only reason we're really talking about a central attacking midfielder. But there's other areas we need to strengthen. We need that person in the middle alongside Partey. We need a right back. We need a backup left back. We need strength and depth as well. That's the other thing. We don't have an awful lot on the bench, and that's what I've said for years. Our starting 11 can give anybody a run for their money on their day, but there's nobody to come off the bench and make a difference. We don't have game changers there, and that's what we need. So that's where the likes of Buendia would have been good, and he could have been a game changer coming off the bench. But it is what it is, and we're not getting them. So, see a couple of comments there. Mark, evening Mark, we were just talking about you a minute ago. Glad you got home safe. Back to Madrid. Weezy J, if he went to Arsenal, Arteta will start. That has been William before him. Quite possibly, but then, obviously the rumours there that William's going to be away, so let's hope so. And Chris, plus it's another ahead of a fan favourite, Martinelli. Absolutely, so again, you bring players in, then the likes of Martinelli, and it's the same like when we talk about strikers and stuff. If we bring a striker in, then Balogun's going to drop down, and we're all busting to see Balogun play. So, it's a delicate balancing act. In terms of who we get in and who goes out. So the next thing then I want to talk about is the right back position. And obviously last week we have chatted before about Bellerin going, and I think there was tweets there tonight, 20 million's the asking price for him, and obviously there's been a couple of different rumours. It's no secret that I'm quite happy to see him go, and I've said often I'll get the taxi for him, no problem. But it's who we get in to replace him. And we've gone from seeing the likes of Max Aarons, Hakimi being linked, all these guys, to this one I seen the other day, which was a potential swap deal with Atletico Madrid for Kieran Trippier, for Hector Bellerin. Lottie, we'll come to you first. What's your feelings on this one?
Could this be Judas number 2 in terms of relating to the Spurs fans? That's my question. I think when he's been over in Spain, he has definitely improved. I mean, he's become Simeone's main man in that right back position. I mean, he's started 35 games this season across all competitions. He's done well in the Champions League from what I've seen. Would I want to swap him for Bellerin? Yes. And then again, no. He is 30. Maybe we'll get 2 years out of him, I think, max, before he's finished. Yeah. Yes, he's going through a purple patch at the moment, but how long is that going to last? That's it, really. I'm not 200% sure. It was a yes and a no. I'm very much on the fence with him.
Okay. Dan, is Trippier someone you'd like to see on an Arsenal shirt?
This is a tricky one for me because I'm always against going for players that have been and done in the Premier League. And I know he didn't have. I mean, for Tottenham, he was okay, not a bad right back, but like he said, he went to Spain and he sort of delivered. He had his betting ban or whatever it was, and then since then he's sort of come out and had the sort of peak of his life, to speak, because he's done quite well for him. He's got a couple of assists. I don't know personally. The fact that he's played for Tottenham, maybe that is why I'm being a bit harsh on him. Like when sort of Euro squads got announced, he was probably the one right back I would have said no against. I'm just tired of potentially seeing him, but. He's good at set pieces. He can do a lot down that right flank, shall you say. Will he be on improvement on Bellerin? Yes, but I suppose I could say that about most players in in any league because he's not playing. So as much as I think we can get a good deal out of it, there's a lot of players I could look at right now and say Bellerin swap would be beneficial for us because Bellerin's not playing. So it's a tough one for me. Obviously, this summer we'll see a bit more of him, but I've seen United linked with him as well. So maybe there is something that we're going to get out of it if us and United are supposedly after him. You know, maybe he has got that second phase or peak or whatever you want to call it in the Premier League. Maybe there's still something to come from him. The age is probably another thing. Like Lottie said, he's 30 years old. For me, the only thing I'd worry about is it would just be another situation which we've had with players before where we bring him back. You know, we've had like we bring a player back in the Premier League and we just don't see anything like what another team would. I feel like that's one thing that could happen. And I would hate to see him come in, probably get a lot of game time because he would be requesting it. He's 30 years old. He's got that experience. He's got international experience, and I feel like he's a head-on character. I feel like he's one of those guys in the dressing room as well. You just wouldn't fuck about with. But I'd like to think that if he was going to come in, he'd have to be good. Otherwise, it would just be a waste of wages because we've got options there now. You know, like James and Cedric and stuff. For me, I'd rather see someone younger come in with a bit more experience because I can't imagine. I don't know what his what's left on his contract at Atletico. I can't imagine it's short.
2 years.
Yeah, he's still got 2 years. So I imagine we'd have to, if it wasn't a swap deal, it wouldn't be worth it because we're going to probably have to get, I'd say, the way he's played this season, at least 25 million. And it's like, what right back could you get for that money? Max Aarons can't be far off that, if I'm honest. So it all depends on, if it's a swap deal, yeah, great. But like I said, you could name 10 right backs right now and I'd probably say yes to 8 of them because Bellerin's sort of out of my mind now. It's history. Yeah, could be a good move. I like what I've seen on him this season for Atletico, but it's the thing that I didn't see from him before. That's what worries me. It's the fact we've seen a lot at Atletico Madrid that we didn't see beforehand in the Premier League. And I might be being harsh. I didn't watch enough of Tottenham, luckily, so maybe I'm just being horrible. But yeah,
I mean, the thing is, in terms of the figures you're talking about, I did see one the other day that United were linked with him for 10 million. You know, so he could be available for as little as 10 million. So, you know, you're almost thinking, right, well, if we're looking 20 for Bellerin, then obviously, you know, are we going to get Trippier plus 10 million? Which, you know, when you look at it that way, it's not a bad deal because that 10 million that you get for him covers his wages for the next couple of seasons. He has, as you both said, he's definitely improved since he's gone to Spain. The age is the concern for me. You know, it is. And I've made it clear before, you know, I want Max Aarons. That's my personal choice. I know there's a lot of people who are sort of saying they want Hakimi and stuff like that, and everybody has their own opinions on it. For me, I want Max Aarons. I want the team to be built for the future as well as the now.
It's the thing,
You know, I don't want to be bringing in players that we're going to have to replace in 2 seasons' time. You know, I want players that are going to kick on now, move us up the table, and be competing right at the top for the next few years. You know, so
exactly.
It's one of them things. It is a tough one because there's reasons why you would, but there's also a lot of reasons why you wouldn't. Couple of comments then. So Mark would definitely take Trippier, big upgrade on Bellerin, and has an end product. Chris, I think he's an improvement on Bellerin, but does seem a slightly unrealistic rumour. Ryan, Trippier would be good for versatility. He can play either side.
This is another thing I don't understand. Atletico have just won the league, so I don't understand why Trippier would be wanting to come back to no European football or anything.
Sorry, Dan. I think his family are over here still. He hasn't moved his family to Spain. He's been out there for 2 seasons on his own.
Must just be. I'm not even homesick. Yeah, I guess he is just homesick. But like you said, Stephen, the problem is it's not moving forward. I feel like this is moving back, or if anything, staying where we are. And that's not. We can't afford to do that anymore. I feel like we need to either move forward or just stay with what we've got.
Well, yeah, I mean, you have to move forward. If you're not moving forward, you're standing still. If you're standing still, you're going backwards. You know, and that's how it is. So, I mean, you're absolutely right. Weezy J, I said, let's see how he plays in the Euros. If he is on point, then go ahead and do the swap. I think the problem with that is that, I think England are taking 26 right backs to the Euros. So, how much game time is he going to get? Sophie, hey Sophie, how are you? And NDB30 TV, hope you've been turning off that other channel to watch us again tonight. Shows how desperate we are to get rid of Bellerin. Absolutely. Okay. So, we'll move on. And the next rumour that I've seen that I want to talk about, and this one I'm just going straight off the bat with this, and I'm saying, for me, it's an absolute no. I do not want to see Ramsey back in an Arsenal shirt. So the rumour that came out was that Arsenal had been in conversation with Juventus about a potential Bellerin and Ramsey swap. And as soon as I seen that, my personal opinion was just stop that conversation now. I was never Ramsey's biggest fan. Yes, he had 1 or 2 good seasons, but on the whole, he averaged 4 goals a season over the 10 years he was at the club. And he was very injury prone. He's going to be someone coming in on big wages. I have no interest in this deal whatsoever. Dan, what's your opinions on the Ramsey rumour?
Yeah, I mean, I'm probably just going to echo what you said. It just annoys me that fans are any fan that's with this, I don't know what they've seen from him at Juventus. I don't know what coffee they're drinking. I don't know what they're smoking at home. But this would just be icing on the cake for me, a nail in the coffin. If we went and re-signed Ramsey, I don't see any difference to going and getting Wilshere back personally. And I know that's been very harsh on Ramsey, but when you look at what he's done since leaving, not really, I wouldn't say anything remarkable. What did he do for us? I mean, yeah, he turned up in a North London derby a couple of times, but other than that, I don't think he really,
FA Cups.
Yeah, okay, FA Cup as well. But like I say, you can say that about many other. I'm not going to pat him in the back and say, yeah, come back to our club on a 3-year deal for 60 grand because he won a trophy. Many players did. What annoys me about this, right, is when people keep saying, oh, but look at what we've got now. But look at what we've got now. I just find it a bit of an insult because we've got one midfielder in Party who's barely begun. Like, we've barely even seen him. Xhaka, I mean, if anything, this has been his best season. So it's the wrong time to start criticising him. And I honestly don't believe Ramsey will come in and do a better job than what they have been. And that's my God's honest truth. He's not really. I get you complaining that maybe number 10 and number 8 role. I just don't think he's enough. And his age, again, I'm going to bring up the age thing because he's, 30 years old he must be. So for me, it's got to be a no. And I like the fact that, I think a lot of fans perhaps like his personality more than what they do on the field. Maybe that is why. That there are more people out there that want him than what don't. But yeah, I think it's just a no-go for me. And if it happened, I dread to think what will happen next season, because if that's what we're relying on, bringing players back from the dead, and it is bringing back Deadwood. We shifted him on, and when we got rid of him, we shouldn't. So to go and get him now would just be an absolute insult to him and the club. Personally, I think they'd just be making a mockery of the player and themselves.
Yeah, I think just a couple of points, sorry, Lottie, before I give you a chance to speak on. Firstly, you're saying about Wilshere. I mean, Wilshere, you go and get Wilshere for free.
That's
it will cost you nothing because he's just been released from Bournemouth. So I mean, you could, but I'm just seeing a couple of comments in there, and obviously we'll come back to those in a wee sec. But things like retirement FC and stuff. I mean, it is, and the thing. I don't know how to put this. It's not so much retirement FC. I get where people are going with that, but with Ramsey, it's sentiment FC. And we've talked about this before on the show. We have got to get out of this sentiment attitude that, keeping these players, the reason people want to see Ramsey back is because Ramsey was at the club for 10 seasons. And the talk is, it's loyalty to the club. he was there for so long. You know, he was a great player for the club and stuff. He was there for a long time. He was never a great player, but he was there for a long time, and it's that sentiment. It's sentiment driven that people want him back. It's not because people actually stop to think how good he was and how many matches he actually was capable of playing. You know, so for me, it's absolutely a no. But Lottie, you can have the final sort of word on Ramsey.
Is it really like a step forward or a step backwards? For me, it'll be a step backwards. Majority will say at the time when we got rid of him, oh, it was a big mistake, we need to bring him back. I like him, but I don't want him back. He's 30 years old. I mean, he's been injured. He's been out 3 times this season with muscle injuries. I mean, when he was with us, his injuries were notorious, shall we say? I mean, he's played 30 games. He's been come on 11 times as a sub over the season with Juve. 2 goals, 5 assists. Not fantastic. He had a higher rate when he was with us. And another thing is, will he give up Champions League football for no Europe and us?
Yeah, absolutely. I don't really care if he will or not. I don't want him. A couple of comments on him. NDV 30 retirement home FC. As I say, yeah, it is, but it's also sentiment FC. Wheezy J, please God, no. Gary from the West tweet. Ramsey, another role player who eventually will be classified as another retiree, aka William. He doesn't want to come back and go out like that. Just let us dream about his past glories. Ryan, pointless when we have Willock. Chris, Ramsey will want stupid wages to come back. He's been stealing a living at Juventus for a few years, mostly sitting on their bench, and couldn't see him doing much more for us. Mark, Basuma will be a good partner and only around 30 million. Yeah. And Chris again, bringing back Ramsey would be another Ozil, 200k a week for 2 to 3 years for someone who would sit on the bench or sit at home again. So yeah, I mean, I think I remember doing a poll on this earlier in the season, and it was quite sort of divided. And I was shocked at just how many people were sort of saying yes. But as I say, it is, for me, it's all in sentiment. It's not actually something we should be looking at. And again, I very much hope that it's not going to happen. Right, we'll move on again. And the next one I want to look at is one that potentially, it's sort of the one that it seems to be the most sort of concrete link, and the one that seems the best chance right now of happening, which is this guy, Onana from Ajax, the goalkeeper. And obviously he had his court case last week for the drug case. He's been banned for a year for taking a performance-enhancing substance. Now, it's basically his wife's blood pressure medication he's taken, and it contains stuff that is classed as a performance-enhancing drug. But you know how he's been banned for a year for taking blood pressure medication, I just think is a bit ridiculous. And I've looked into it. Actually, my wife is a pharmacy dispenser and sent me through some information on the drug, and I looked at it and I read through all the information on it that she could get me. And it is absolutely ridiculous that this is being done to him. But if rumours are to be believed, Arsenal are very interested in signing him, and more or less everything is done. It's just agreeing the fee. If he is banned for another 6 months, it's going to be about 2 to 3 million. If he is back by sort of October, which is the rumour, then it could be anything between 7 and 9. Dan, is this a guy that excites you?
I feel like I'm repeating myself because I've said this across like my channel, God knows how many times, but I'm excited, yeah. But I just feel like it's that position is such a small fish, not even a fish in a big pond. We have so many other issues which I think it was Lottie that just mentioned, near enough the whole of our defence we need to reshape. We need a centre midfield. By the look of it, we need 2 or 3 of them. We need striker probably. And we're there buying a goalkeeper. And I know Leno's made his mistakes. And fair enough, Runnerson's not turned out to be worth 1p, let alone 1 million. But I'd like to say I'm excited, but I don't get it. I really don't get it. No matter how much it's going to cost in wages or whatever. I can't believe. I mean, I'm sure we'll touch this at another time, or whatever, but I can't believe the first two things we could be doing this summer is signing a goalkeeper and selling Granit Xhaka. To me, that's possibly the last two things I'd be doing as a manager or an owner. Yeah, he looks good. But it all depends on what we sell, because Leno's going to obviously have to go. So I think it also all depends on how much we get for him, because we can't have two players of that quality playing in the same team. It will just be a Martinez situation all over again, which is not good for anyone. So, but yeah, I'm looking forward to sort of see what he brings. He's looked good in the league he's currently in, but it's a different kettle of fish in the Premier League. So, yeah, and like you said, it seems pretty much done now. I think the deal's, if anything, the only reason it may be being held up is because of the stuff going on, like his documented problems with the ban and stuff like that. But we'll see what happens. It's going to be interesting to see him, obviously, because he's going to have to get to know that defence sort of quite quickly, and we don't even know what defence he'll be working with yet. So who knows? Yeah, it's an exciting one, but just a strange one for me. And I didn't expect to be sitting here talking about us signing a goalkeeper. It's probably the one position where I felt like maybe we'd sign Matt Ryan on a permanent, and the world's your oyster. But yeah, he looks a good player.
Yeah, I mean, as Gary's saying there, state of Arsenal transfer window, the best transfer target Arsenal have is a goalkeeper who's suspended. Not good. Yeah. And yeah, I mean, it's very much, from all accounts, it is pretty much done. It's just the fee. Lottie, I mean, your feelings on Onana? See someone that you're excited to see come in, or would you rather keep Leno?
If anybody that looks at my Twitter knows how I feel about Leno, and after his comments of him saying he wants to leave, he can go. I'm not interested. I mean, I'm just hoping that we manage to get Matt back at the moment. I'd quite happily have Onana as well. I think the one thing that does worry me about him a lot is, from what I've seen of him, he does like to come off his lines a lot. Mm-hmm. And for me, that's just a massive, massive risk, especially when you're coming out properly out. But other than from what else I've seen, his reactions are really, really quick, but not always perfect.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, yeah. Dan's right there when he says, Leno will be going. You can't have two keepers of that quality. The one thing I would sort of say is, again, if you look at the fees involved, you're talking, if we sell Leno, you'd like to think you're getting sort of 20 to 25 million for Leno. And if you're bringing in a keeper of Onana's quality for sort of as little as 7, you get Matt Ryan for $1 million, $1.5 million. You're talking bringing in a first and second choice goalkeeper who are good for less than 10 million. I'm banking 10 to 15 million off the back of selling Leno. Leno has had his moments, as has been said. For me, I've always said he's not the world-class goalkeeper we thought we were getting. He is a good goalkeeper, but he's not the level we thought he was. So if he wants to go, yeah, absolutely, he can go. I'll be more than happy with Onana coming in. And as I said, we'll get Ryan as a backup. More than happy with that. Couple of comments then. So NDB30TV, Onana, what's my name? We change it to what a save. Chris, it would be a typical Arsenal signing a player who's banned for a year. It would rank with Kallstrom or Suarez signing players coming in who were injured for months. Rihanna song, by the way, yeah. We can reuse the Ospina chant as well for goal kicks. Look at Chelsea, they got Mendy when no one really knew much about him. Could be worth a punt.
The thing is with that comment though, like about Chelsea, that's fair enough, but Chelsea were buying a goalkeeper because they needed a goalkeeper, whereas we're just buying one to try and improve on a goalkeeper, which we don't necessarily know will be, because Leno's made mistakes, but he's also made some very, very good saves. Like some of his games last season probably kept us in the top half of the position at the end of it. So
yeah,
but yeah, I just wanted to bring that up because
different. Yeah, I mean, you're absolutely right. Then, I mean, the signing of Onana, it's one that we didn't need. It's not a player we desperately need right now. The goalkeeper is, yes, it's something that, for me personally, it's something that needed to be upgraded, but it didn't need to be upgraded this summer. You could have, but I suppose the flip side of that is Leno has 2 years left on his deal. So now is the time to sell him rather than waiting to 1 year left, and he's holding you to ransom. And clubs will get a far better deal when there's 1 year left, because they know that if they let it go 1 more year, they'll get him for nothing. So it's a good time to sell Leno if he's going. So Dubber Ducky, love that name. Matt Roberts, good one. Yeah. Lottie's taxi service is going to be busy this summer, saying gas monies too.
Well, I'm setting up a GoFundMe page at some point.
Could Arsenal go 6 months with Ryan in goal, waiting for this guy to come back? Leno has his faults, but we'd rather him in goal. Maybe Leno leaves in January.
No.
The problem, me and Chris actually had this conversation earlier on Twitter, and I was saying the problem with that is Leno's not going to want to sit around come in for 6 months, knowing full well he's going to be replaced. He's going to want to go now and settle into his new team. And Leno has aspirations of replacing Neuer as the Germany number 1. I don't think he will. I think Ter Stegen will get that when Neuer steps down. But if he's going to have any chance, he needs to be playing week in, week out. And, again, getting a big money move for him in January, it's highly unlikely. Weezy J, I need to keep Matt, even though he didn't get much game time when he was playing. He was like a boss. Yeah, I mean, we've said the same thing. He did absolutely nothing wrong, and the couple of times I seen him, he looked very assured. His debut he conceded fairly early on, but it wasn't really his fault. You can't really blame him for that. And he did get an assist as well. NDB30TV, sorry, Leno is not good enough for Arsenal. Fair enough. As I say, I'm kind of similar opinion. It's we can upgrade on him, but he would do for now whilst we sort other areas. But as I say, I think now is the best time to sell him with 2 years left on his deal. I think it is. It's time to sell him. All right, so a rumour then of a different style this time. And we're going to look at a rumour for someone going out of the club. And one I've seen this week that doesn't make a whole lot of sense in some ways, but makes great sense in another way. And I'm going to give you the first word on this, Lottie. Our captain, number 14, Pierre Emerick Aubameyang, links to Chelsea. Obviously, Thomas Tuchel, a big fan and worked with him at Dortmund. And the links are there again that Chelsea are potentially looking at him as an option for their striker role.
Do you know what? I don't like hearing our players linked with Chelsea, because it's just never good news. They take our good ones, and we get the ones that are ready to be retired or have just basically lost it. I don't want him to. Do you know what? I'd love for him to go anywhere but there. I don't want him to go to an English club. If he is going to go, I mean, he's got 2 years on his contract left, I think. And as you said, it's probably the best time to go now, rather than him hold us to ransom with the money that he's on. There's also a case that I've previously said this in my blog. Does he still fit in with what we're trying to do? I mean, there was parts of the season that we saw him completely vanish, especially on that left wing. He was invisible, especially around the West Ham game where we ended up drawing 3-3. I don't know if he's still the right person to be in that position at the moment. I still don't think he should be captain either, but that's a separate issue.
Yeah, I mean, he had a lot going on sort of personally this year, but it did, it looked for a great deal of the season that his heart wasn't in it. And it is one of them things, he had a poor season. I don't think it makes him a poor player. You don't become a bad player overnight, unless you're Fernando Torres moving from Liverpool to Chelsea. But, the likelihood is he comes back next season and he could have a cracking season again, because he was one of Europe's top scorers. Well, not Europe, especially because he's not European, but in the European leagues for the last number of years, he has been one of the most consistent goal scorers in the top 5 leagues. And you don't just drop off overnight. So there's obviously something there. It's whether he can regain that form next season and be that talisman that we need him to be. And if there's any doubt in the board or Arteta's mind, or even in his mind, that he is going to be that player again, he needs to go. But it's one of them ones. Dan, what's your feelings on it?
It's quite annoying, like, just to talk about Aubameyang in terms of this, because like a lot of us have said, I'm preaching for the choir here, but you look at where we were this time last season, we were all sitting there praying, sat at the end of our bed praying that Aubameyang signs a new contract, and here we are talking about potentially selling him to one of our rivals. It's just, and the fact that you would have thought that most of us would be on the complete off of it and say no, we can't sell him, but now I reckon 9 out of 10 people probably would sell him, because it's a problem there. Whereas realistically, you'd like someone that is versatile up top, that plays on the left, out left, like plays down the left channel, like Lottie just touched on. He's not really good down that left channel, and then he started perhaps performing in the striker role where we wanted to see him. But even there, he doesn't provide as much as what maybe most strikers could. I know you've got like the Aubameyang, Lacazette sort of the comparison, but if he goes to Chelsea, I agree with Lottie. That's just, to me, that's the worst possible scenario. Because I can just see him developing now. I can see him, if he went there next season, scoring 20 goals and being what he was last year for us. Whereas I think if he moved on to another club out abroad, I think he would perhaps. I'm not saying he would be as bad as what he has this season. No disrespect to him, but I don't think that would happen. I think it would just be a case of him going to Chelsea and coincidentally he's woken up and smelled the coffee and he's back firing again. So I would like to see him sold. I'm going to be honest. There was a lot of talk about Lacazette perhaps being gone. If I was to pick tomorrow, Aubameyang would have to go for me, because he doesn't do as much. I just don't think he really provides that much up there. And there is other strikers that we can put in this position that will perhaps do the same job as him. Like he's good for firing the goals in and perhaps being on the end of a set piece, but I don't think he does that much as some forwards do. He can be whereas Lacazette can be an end product as well. He can sort of adapt and sit behind the striker or be a bit of a help if needed. Aubameyang doesn't really do that. So I'd like him sold, but to Chelsea I'd be outraged, and it would just be one of a long list of players that Chelsea have somehow gone and got off us and benefited, whereas we've managed to. David Luiz is probably the only good we've got out of that team, to be honest, if I can think on the top of my head, and he wasn't exactly a pick out of the pile, was he? It was just a stroke of luck in the last season. So no, I hope it doesn't happen. I don't think it will, to be honest. I'm not too concerned or worried about this room. I can't see that happening. And like Lottie said, he shouldn't be our captain. He's not captain worthy. But perhaps that's another reason for him to leave, because it's not ideal for him. I can't imagine it's comfortable for him, because if I was in the dressing room, there's much bigger people out in that dressing room I'd listen to over him. Your Xhaka, your Tierney. I think that might be one of the reasons why he's not been himself this season, because he's had a lot of weight on his shoulders. It's been one of our worst seasons today. He's been the captain, and he's had a lot going on. Obviously, documented issues out here and there, but he's also had a really dull season, to put it bluntly. But yeah, if he goes, then fair enough. Just to Chelsea, please no.
Okay. Yeah, as Gary says, they're all like 500,000 a week between them. Arsenal can't afford to be spending that on 23 Premier League goals in a season. One or both should go, but who's going to coach up the next striker, Arteta? I know you're not a fan of Arteta, Gary, but you're absolutely right. 500,000 a week for 23 Premier League goals. For me, we should be signing a young, hungry striker who's going to do that on their own for less than 100,000 a week. Interesting question though from NDB30 TV. What if they offered a nice price, and what is his price? realistically, he's what, 31, 32 now. 2 years left on a £350,000 a week contract, reportedly. How much realistically are you going to get for him?
I'd say 35 would be lucky to get for him, and that's probably being harsh. But in this world, I think 35 I'd shake their hand tomorrow.
Yeah.
Because he's nowhere, like he's not even, you can't even justify a big price on him anymore, because you can't be like, oh, he just won the Golden Boot, or oh, he was our top scorer. He's literally been on par with our other striker. But yeah, I think 35 million, I'd be quite happy. If it was to Chelsea, then I'd ask for 60 or 70 just to make him completely, just to completely throw him off the agenda. But no, 35 million maybe in this day and age. And that's in pandemic, maybe 40, 45 if we weren't in the situation that most clubs are in.
Okay. Chris, not sure he would be judged, or he should be judged on one bad season. Not sure him as captain really works. Maybe he needs the pressure taken off him, so he can just focus on scoring goals again. I think he's better on the left when he plays in the middle. He seems to get lost in games and doesn't really affect him as much. And Gary saying there, Auba was a bust when Arteta changed the system on him. He looks lost out there. The Mr. Arsenal podcast, we need to stop strengthening our rivals and sell them abroad. Yeah, I mean, absolutely. All right. Wow, we're getting through them. There's still plenty more to go, but we're going to take a short break. We'll be right back. Right, so we'll move on, and we'll come on to a player who I'm going to be completely honest about. Oh, Lottie's decided to go. This guy, Albert Sambi Lokonga, recommended by Thierry Henry. He's not someone I have seen much of, or I'm going to be honest, he's not really someone I'd heard of until last week. Do you know much about him, Dan?
Yeah, I'm a bit the same as you. I saw his name pop up here or there on some platforms. So I sort of obviously when it was linked that apparently Henry sort of advised for him to go to Arsenal. Obviously, you know, that's music to people's ears. You sort of think, oh, okay, he must be good. So I checked him out a little bit. He looks good. He'll add a different dynamic, that's for sure. He's not. I like what I see in him in case of the fact he provides something different. He's not just defensive. He seems like he can sort of be all around the field, which is what we need. But yeah, I'd be a bit worried in terms of, because he looks good at a club that I don't know there are many wonderful players at. I feel like it'd be a lot of money, and he's not the oldest player in the book either. So it would all depend for me. He looks good. He looks promising. But yeah, I think the money's obviously, because at the moment it's sort of just a rumour that we're linked with. I'd like to know what the first bid would be and how sort of interesting that bid will be to the selling club, because I don't know too much about him to know what they'd want. But for me, he looks like a big fish in a small pond, if you get what I mean. He looks at a club which could do with those sort of players. Like I think if they were to sell him, they'd make as much money as possible. And if it would be worth it, because he's not going to come in and play as a first team player, I don't believe. Anyway, not from what I've seen of him. I don't think he gets in at the moment for me. But yeah, he looks good. He just provides something different. Like he's not just a sort of from what I've seen of him, he can play in a CDM, a cam, or just a centre midfield. So I like that. I'm always intrigued in players that can do that, because it's something to have on the bench as well. You know, you can sort of provide in all areas if it need be. Yeah,
I mean that's the thing. I mean, you're talking the rumours are sort of 15 to 20 million. And when you consider the possibility that we're going to lose Xhaka, we're going to potentially lose Elneny, Torreira, Ceballos is away, Odegaard's away. Midfield, we're going to need reinforcements in the midfield. And we're linked with Ruben Neves, who we actually spoke about last week, because we're ahead of the curve in this show, and we know these rumours are going to come up. So we talked about Ruben Neves last week. So there's strong links with him now. Apparently, there's this guy There's Basuma, and you'd like to be thinking that we're going to be taking at least 2 of them.
Yeah.
For that central midfield, and that's not even then talking about the sort of attacking midfielder. This is talking about more the central midfielder to play alongside Partey. And again, I always say, YouTube clips can make Bentner look like a world beater. So it's always hard to sort of judge, but like a lot of people, I'm sure, and I am completely honest, and I said it already. I hadn't heard of this guy until the other day when the rumours came out. And like a lot of people, the difference is I'm honest again. I went straight on to YouTube and looked him up and, watched a few clips. I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I've been watching him all season long and he's a great player. The YouTube clips, yeah, he looks fantastic. He looks like, for his age, for the money, it looks like it would be a real good buy. But it's one of them ones I don't know enough about him to give an honest opinion. But from what I've read, and the fact that Henri's recommended him, again, it kind of makes you think that, well, Henri usually has a fairly good eye for this talent. So it may be one worth pursuing. Lottie, what's your thoughts on him?
I'm the same with you. I'm not going to pretend like I've actually watched him. I've done a little bit of reading since all this Thierry Henry recommendations come out. I mean, he's been branded the Belgian wonder kid from what I've been reading. I mean, he's 21 years old. He looks like he's got so much potential from what I've seen on YouTube and things. I looked up his stats for this season, and he's made 35 appearances, 3 goals and 2 assists. His passing rate's 87%, and for a 21-year-old, I think that's brilliant, personally. But as I said, I've only really watched him on YouTube. I haven't actually been watching his games and see how he's actually performed. I mean, stats always paint a pretty picture, but it's not always true.
Okay. Chris saying there, is he just another player for the future that we've had plenty of in the past that have joined us and doesn't live up to what we thought because he's coming up from a lower league? Potentially. It's a good question, and it's one of them ones that you can say it about a lot of players, but unless you give them the chance and you bring them in, you'll never know. So yeah, I mean, it's one I wouldn't be. I'm not against the signing of him, but I wouldn't like to think we were signing him as the main midfielder. I think he's too young, too inexperienced, and we need other players. And I think we do need that sort of Premier League proven player, the likes of a Basuma or a Neves, to really come in and play alongside Partey for now, because Partey's inexperienced in the Premier League as well. That's the other thing to bear in mind. He's only played 15 games or so in the Premier League because of the injuries and coming in late and stuff to the end of the season. So we do need a Premier League proven player to play alongside him. But yeah, it'll be an interesting one to see. Definitely reinforcements needed. Just want to say thanks to everybody in the chat so far tonight. It's been great seeing everybody in and some new faces as well. If you are new and you haven't hit the subscribe button, make sure and do. And drop a wee like on the video as well, please. Partey, Basuma and Aouar. Do you know what? That would be a dream. I would love that.
No, I totally agree with that. But AFCON, that is the biggest thing for me at the moment. And we've got to sign some midfield players that aren't African or will be called up to play for their national teams come January, February, even though there is rumours going around that it might be cancelled. Stephen, I think we were talking about that this morning, weren't we?
Yeah, absolutely. Potential. I think there are a lot of malaria outbreaks and stuff like that in Africa, and obviously the civil wars and stuff going on, and there is that possibility that it will be cancelled. Well, on that, I mean, you're saying there about potentially signing people that won't be going to the AFCON. Someone again that we've been linked with this week is this guy James Madison from Leicester. I'm quite a big fan of Madison. I really like him. My only concern with him is he is a little bit injury prone, and we already have that in the squad with a number of players. So it's the sort of money you're talking about for Madison. It's a big risk. And again, is he going to want to drop down to a side that aren't in Europe when he's getting that with Leicester at the minute? Lottie, what's your thoughts on James Madison?
I like him. I do like him. I mean, the last time I saw him play was the last Arsenal game I went to, and it was up in Leicester, and we lost 2-0. I mean, he should have had at least 2 goals. The one he did get was, I hate to say it, was beautiful. It was a nice goal. I mean, as you said, he's injury prone. I mean, he's been out 3 times this season with his knee. Can we afford to have someone out 3 times this season on injuries, if not more? In terms of Leicester's midfield, he's had 8 goals this season, 7 assists, and compared to our midfield, it's just so much. As a player, he's so much better, and I'd love to have seen him in an Arsenal shirt. But will he give up what he's played so hard for all season? I don't think so.
He's one I thought we should have done an awful lot more to get when he left Norwich. I think Leicester have really smart recruitment. And it has to be said, some of the players that they managed to bring in for the money is phenomenal. I mean, they're linked. It's pretty much a done deal for Soumare from Lille this summer for around about 20 million. And I see it. Chris mentioned there in the chat. It looks like Edouard of Celtic is off to Leicester for 18 million as well. Another player we could very much get. But sat there and missed again. Dan, James Madison, is he someone you'd like to see in an Arsenal shirt?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with what Lottie said about I'd have liked to have maybe gone for him a few years ago when the price was probably half of what it is now. In the Norwich days when he was in his prime, I think he was winning like Young Player of the Season and stuff. But the injuries a worry. Obviously, he's just come back. I was gutted for him when he didn't make Euros, but it wasn't a surprise to me because when he came back from injury, he just didn't look himself, and I think that is due to the fact he's had such a long time out. But everyone knows what he's capable of. He's not just Premier League proven. I think he's sort of proved it all around the field that he's, you haven't got to worry about him on the field. It's just the injuries. He's still young as well. Like he's only 24 years old. He's probably got another 4 years to find another peak, maybe 2, maybe 3. I'd like to see it, but I don't think Leicester are going to give him up. I know they've got a lot of midfielders, but he's just for them. I don't think the juice would be worth the squeeze with selling him because I think like he would leave and then there'd be all they've got is Ndidi. I know they've been linked with Soumare or whatever his name is. He's an attacking player. I don't think they have enough they can sort of, and I don't think they'd be able to replace him easily either. They'd probably get 50 million for him, maybe not even that in this day and age, based on the fact he's been injured for most of this season. So I think for them, it wouldn't be worth it. I don't see Rodgers giving up on him that easily, and even Madison, for him to agree terms with us, you're going to have to offer something really, really special because they missed out in Champions League, but they've got Europa League. So that's already something that we can't really put there to offer. But yeah, I'd like to see it. It's a shame that he's not going to the Euros because I was so obviously our boy Bakayo could have given him a little whisper in his ear, but no, I don't know. I'd like to think it can happen. I feel like money does talk. I still believe money can talk. And he knows he would get a lot of game time at Arsenal. You haven't got to question that with Madison because he can play in a centre midfielder or attacking, but obviously he'd mainly play behind. The only problem for me is the sort of football he plays. I'd see someone losing out that wouldn't realistically be worth spending 50 million on making lose out, if you get what I mean. Because it's a lot of money. Madison's not going to be anything less than that. If anything, it may be a couple mil short. But he's won trophies at Leicester. He's got him into the Champions League. He's probably the one player there where Leicester can actually make a case for. They're not going to get anything for Vardy. Obviously, he's probably going to retire there or leave and go somewhere for pennies. So Leicester are going to want to make money where it counts. But yeah, I'd love it. I mean, I don't know anyone that wouldn't like him in there. I think you could ask any fan of any team and Madison would be welcome with open arms. it is just that injury problems for me. I think we've had enough of that.
Yeah. It's not one we've lined up, and it's not a rumour I've heard, but I just want to throw this one out there just to sort of see what your opinions would be, guys. Someone I really like at Leicester, and I would love to see an Arsenal shirt, Yuri Tielemans. He's someone I really liked when he was at Monaco, and I thought we should have brought him in then. And he's just gone, for me, he's gone from strength to strength at Leicester, and I would love to see him. Is that someone that would interest you, or do you not rate him at all?
Price would be a joke. That's my only thing. I think the price for him would just be out of our... I think we'd have to sell three players to buy that one. And I don't know. Yeah. I'll let Lottie answer. I think it's just out of reach.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with both of you. I mean, Kroenke will have to actually undo those purse strings if we wanted to buy him, if I'm honest with you. And that's not likely after the last 5 years of self-sustaining. So I'll be excited. I believe it when I see it.
Okay. Kroenke, if you're watching, please spend. Yeah, it would be nice. I don't think Kroenke's watching this show. Be nice to think he is. I do know who does watch this show, but we'll not talk about that. So who knows? It may get back to Kroenke. We don't have the same pulling power. Gary, there, do we really need another 21-year-old incoming player? I think this is obviously about Lokonga before, and obviously I'd said the same sort of thing. It's somebody else said, it's do we need upcoming players, but let's see where else. Weezy J, it's another player Arsenal could have bought. Is now going to Leicester. Yeah. Calvert-Lewin would be a good signing. Quick yes or no on that one, guys. Would you use one Calvert-Lewin?
I'll let Lottie go first.
Thanks for that. I'm gonna have to think about that one. I'm not sure.
Yeah,
I'm actually not sure if I'm honest with you.
I think my head's a bit spun on that. Again, I think it's out of reach. Even though Everton finished 10th, Everton have got enough problems. They're not going to go and sell the one good player that they've had all season. Like he's up there. He's their top scorer this season. So they're not going to be like, oh, we've lost Ancelotti. We're probably going to lose Rodriguez. I know what we'll do. We'll get rid of that Dominic as well. I just don't see it happening. He'd be good, but he's young. Don't get me wrong. If we sold Aubameyang or Lacazette, yeah, sure. But how much are they going to try and get for him? He's just got to call up to the England. You don't know what this sort of summer can do for him. Could be a shop window. It could double his price. Yeah, I'd like to see it, but again, I just think it's out of reach. I don't think. I think if he's gonna move on, it'll be in 2-3 years' time where he can maybe be in Kane's situation and be like, look, I want to win some trophies. I don't think he needs to sort of. He's not at the end of his career yet, so he's not really got a ceiling to climb. He's just sort of sitting there and doing what Everton do, and knowing that he's their number 9.
Okay. Gary, Arsenal have always been late to the party, selling and buying players. Now it doesn't seem we know when the party is. Yes, I'm negative, but I haven't seen much positive. You're not negative, Gary. You're honest. And yeah, I mean, we do. This wait until late in the window. It's so frustrating. We need to get our business done early. The only thing I will say on that is the window doesn't actually open for another 2 days, I think. So let's not panic just yet. I understand why Arsenal like to do their business in quiet. And I was thinking about this the other day, and I was actually going to put a tweet out, and I wrote it, and then I thought, no, I can't be bothered. But if you look at the deals that have gone through and how they're reported, it's obvious why Arsenal do stuff in private. Liverpool have signed Konate, I think his name is, and it's like 36 million. He's going to be paid 70,000 a week on a 5-year deal or whatever it is. And it's the media come out and say, they've signed him 36 million, 70,000 pound a week deal for a great player. You guarantee that if Arsenal had signed him, it would have been he signed for an undisclosed fee They're going to pay him 200. It works out at the equivalent of £200,000 a week on a 5-year deal for an injury-prone 20-year-old. You know, and you sort of think, well, that's how all our transfers are treated. Why would they make it public knowledge who they're going for? Loving the show, thank you. Appreciate the feedback. Because they have an owner and a good board that cares about the players and fans, it's obviously talking about Leicester. Yeah. Kroenke out. But if Kroenke isn't going to spend, does that rule out this fantasy deal people are wanting for Grealish? I'm not even going into the Grealish thing. He's not coming. Why not James if we were picking Everton players? Number 10 rule that we need. Not for me. Not for me. Guys, James, you having him?
No.
It's a no for me.
No.
Not even just because of the fact that I don't think it will happen. I think Everton made the mistake with that. And I mean, look at him this season. I think he was the first player for them to get injured. And then all of a sudden, they all sort of started getting on the same ship. And I just, no.
Do you know what actually I find
I've got
hilarious?
no words for that. For things like that, it's all fun and games just to say, like, why not this player? But James has proven that he should have just stayed in Spain or wherever he was.
Yeah. The funny thing with James, and this is why you just can't take rumours on social media too serious. I don't know if either of you seen this during the season about the whole thing. He was out and he was retiring from football because he was having a sex change. And this actually did the rumours for a bit. And I remember seeing it, and I had to go and Google it just because I was so curious. But this is the reason why you just can't take rumours too seriously. You know, I love talking about them, and it gives us something to have a show on. But you know, you have to sort of take a lot of it with a pinch of salt. Arsenal are the only toxic relationship I want in my life.
I have to agree with Antonio on that one. We're all in that toxic relationship as Arsenal fans.
Yeah. James will follow Ancelotti again, quite possibly. And then EB3 TV. It's frustrating as we do not know how much we have to spend. It is frustrating, but at the same time, it's also a good thing because, you know, if other clubs know how much we have to spend, then they're going to want more money. And that's why it's played down this we have no money thing. And, you know, and it's the same I seen, you know, obviously the whole we have to sell players to buy players. I don't think we do. I think we have to sell players because we need to sell players. You know, we need to get them out of the squad to make room. You know, we will need to have a slightly smaller squad, and we do need to just get rid of the players that are no good. There's no point keeping them here, but I don't think we need to sell them necessarily to be able to spend. But at the same time, you are kind of caught in that predicament that if you bring players in, you know, if you bring a player in, say we bring a replacement for Bellerin in before selling Bellerin, well, then we're left with Bellerin, and clubs know, well, they're desperate to get rid of this player, so we can hardball them and go for a lower transfer fee. So it's a difficult balancing act. And whilst we love to see the transfers all happen early, it has to be played out in such a way that we don't lose out. And we're not good when it comes to transfers as it is in terms of negotiating fees and stuff. Next one then we've been linked with. This guy has been linked to the club for a number of years, and at one point potentially was going to go to Liverpool. There was photos of him in the Liverpool kit and all that were prematurely released, and then it didn't happen for him. Nabil Fekir, who then went to Real Betis, and to be honest, he's done reasonably well. But again, being linked to Arsenal for that sort of attacking midfield role. Dan, thoughts on Fekir?
I feel like we're in a deja vu sort of situation. I feel like Draxler's going to pop out of his shell next, but yeah, he's done well for
Draxler's just signed a new deal at PSG, so that one's not happening.
I mean, obviously we was linked with him a few years ago, and I know there was all talks of him or Coutinho. I like him. I think he's only 27, so yeah, it's not like a case of we'll only get 2 years out of him. He's probably got a couple of years left. I think if we're going to sign him, it has to be this summer if we were to do it, because I don't think he's got many peaks left. I don't think he's got enough left in his closet to sort of provide anything. I like the fact that he's sort of after all the problems he had, he's come back again, because obviously beforehand it was a case of he just wanted to leave, he wanted to go somewhere. He seems to have settled where he is. But if he's going to come in the Premier League, you'd like to see a player like that in the Premier League. Anyone would, really. Like, he provides goals, and he's got a shot on him, and he's not just that. He's sort of he's an end product, but he's a provider as well. I feel like he'd be a great little sort of addition, and not just that. He would add like a little bit of a new dimension to Arsenal, because it'd be interesting to see who would play around him and like how that would work. And the price is what gets me. Like, if it's like 30 million from what I've read, I think I've read about 35 million, then I'd say why not? Because there's not going to be many players out there that are actually of his talent anyway that will come to Arsenal, and not sort of, because I don't think he's really at a level where he's going to get your Liverpool or Chelsea or anything like that anymore. So he probably is just maybe looking for that Premier League dream rather than the Champions League or the European. Yeah, I'd like to see it. I think years ago I was quite happy when I read the rumours, and when that didn't happen, I was a bit disappointed. So I wouldn't be able to go now and say, I don't want him, because if anything, he's proved people wrong, because he's gone and sort of done it again in that league. But yeah. It's different. I suppose you could say it's different kettle, because it is like the case of the injuries and stuff like that. But I don't think there's enough there to say that he'd come and be like it with us. I think it is a case of, he's going to be in a different league, and for whoever he was at before that. But in the sort of Spanish league, he seems to be developing well, and I like seeing players come from the Spanish league. I have more hope for that than when they come from, not to disrespect La Liga or anything like that, but when League One and stuff like that, they seem to not deliver as much. He seems like he'd be ready to jump straight in it.
Yeah, well, I mean, he went from Lyon, who, Lyon have a great production line of players.
Mm.
So he went from Lyon to Betis after the whole thing with Liverpool fell through.
Yeah.
For me, you're talking 20 to 25 million. The concern is the injuries. But other than that, he is a good player, and he would add a new dynamic to the team. So again, he's one for the sort of money they're talking about. I don't think it would be too much of a risk. Lottie, thoughts on Fekir?
Do you know what? I think as Den, I completely agree with what Den's saying. I think he's 27. He's got about five years left in him, I think. And I think for what we need right now, he would fit. I mean, his hold-up play is great. His long shots are great. What more can we really ask for? He can mix the fouls, but when the fouls are committed on him, he's smart with it. I find that Arsenal players, they won't go to ground like everybody else does, and we're not exactly smart with it. The only person that really is smart with it is Saka. And if we can, I'm not saying that I want Arsenal to be diving all over the place, but we could be winning more fouls, if you know what I mean.
Okay, excellent. All right, I'm just doing a bit of product placement here with our Cannon Chatter mugs, which will soon be available on the Matchday shop, which is our sponsor. We're getting that all organised now. The show tonight's also sponsored by Sport Bucket Hat, who can be found on Twitter at @sport_hat, and he has an Etsy store as well, which is just Sports Bucket Hat. Okay, Dan, if you thought you were suffering deja vu before, it's going to get really bad now. So the latest rumour I've seen is a 40 million move for this man, Wilfried Zaha.
God.
I can tell by the look in your face that this is not one that excites you.
No, I'll be shocked if anyone is for this, and I apologise now if either of you two are. But for me, I haven't even seen enough for him in a Palace shirt this season to want him. Never mind to come at Arsenal and do a job. But if he's not standing out in that Palace team, God forbid, God help us all, what he would be like around your likes of Saka, Smith Rowe. It would just be the young boys still having to carry us. And 40 million for him's an insult. I'm sorry, but if he played in a bigger team, they wouldn't expect 40 million for him. I think he's past it. I really do think he's past it. I don't think there's a lot left of him. Palace as well, obviously they've got to find a new manager, and from what I know, a lot of their players are running out of contracts, so he's probably one that they're going to need to focus and keep an eye on. And yeah, he's the best of a bad bunch. That's how I'm going to put it for him. Someone's put there, swap Zaha for Willian. I don't even know who I'd rather have in the team at the moment, personally. I honestly don't feel like Zaka would. I'm getting confused now. Zaha would surprise, would change anything. I don't think he'll bring enough to the table. I honestly don't. Yeah, something that he doesn't do is pass. Yeah, it's like, I think he's literally, he'd come to Arsenal and we'd be in this situation in a year from now where we'd just say about how we're wasting wages. And it would be deja vu, like you just said. We'd be having the same conversation as what we had about Willian, what we've had about Aubameyang. And it would just be like, is there any point? And 40 million is a lot of money as well. We're talking about selling Bellerin for 20. He's got like 5 years left on his contract. Zaha would probably come, and I'd say we'd get one good season out of him if we were very lucky. And that's it. He's not for me. I didn't want him then, and I don't want him now.
I'm the same. Kind of as much as I have to say on the matter. Lolly?
If we were going to buy him, we would have done it a while ago. I mean, he tried to hold Palace to ransom to come to us.
It wouldn't surprise me if we went and bought him now, though. You watch, we'll say all this.
I don't want him. I don't want him. I've got to deal with Willian. I've got to watch that rubbish. I don't want him. No.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's fairly unanimous there. We're all kind of saying no. And certainly by the looks of things in the chat, everyone's saying no as well. Guys in the chat, if you haven't done already, make sure and drop a like on the video there for me, please. NDB30TV heard Mavropanos played well for Greece against Norway recently. He kept Haaland and Odegaard quiet. Could be back into the first team. Yeah, I've heard that, and I think he's another one that Arteta will take a look at him. But I think Mavropanos is going to go, and I think he'll probably go permanently this summer.
Yeah, I've heard a rumor that Arteta is looking to move him on. Unfortunately. Yeah,
I think the talk is very much he wants to bring in another centre back, but he's also going to keep Saliba. I don't think Saliba's going anywhere. I know there's rumours, about Newcastle and stuff, but I don't think he's going to go anywhere. I think he will get his chance now. Chris Saha 2 years ago, but not now. Palace shot themselves in the foot when they told us they wanted 70 million for him, so we went and got Pepe instead. Yeah, I mean, I think the bigger issue was not the price, because obviously we paid the same money for Pepe, but the issue was how much they wanted up front.
They wanted it all in one go. Yeah,
they were wanting most of it in one go. I think obviously they were going to let it. Most transfers are done over stages, and sort of payments, but they wanted a massive chunk. I think it was something I read about 50 million of it they wanted up front, whereas Pepe they were able to do it sort of. I think it was 20 million up front, and then split the rest over a number of payments. Salah will be big next season. Mavropanos is becoming the modern Joe Campbell, always unknown until his contract runs out, and then he just leaves. For God's sake, no, he hates when he gets tackled, and he has got anger issues as well. Okay. So, yeah, I mean, for me, Zaha's a no. I don't want to see it. All right, couple more to go. Another one potentially rumoured with a link out of the club is Eddie Nketiah. 20 million, apparently, we're looking for him, and he was offered back to Leeds on a permanent deal. Lottie, would you be sad to see Nketiah go?
No, I don't know where he fits in anymore. I mean, he's kind of reached his peak with us, and I think he should be playing for teams like Leeds. But I do still like the idea of giving him to Brighton as a part of the deal with Bissouma, personally. No, I've no tears lost when he goes, if I'm honest. He's kind of fizzled out for me.
Yeah, he's never really hit the heights that we sort of had thought he was supposed to be able to hit. He's done it with England under 21s, but just at club level, for some reason, he just doesn't seem to do it. He is very much a 5-yard poacher, and that's just not the style of football we play. Dan, we'd be sad to see him go if we lose him.
No, I can't wait, to be honest. I sound so horrible, but I'm just bored of him now. I forget how young he is because he's been around like for donkey's years. And I think it's a better move for him. I think for the club, we need to move on. He needs to move forward. And yeah, like Lottie said, something like Leeds or even Brighton. Yeah, I like that idea. Swap with Basuma. I think he might fit in there, and maybe he'll become something more than a 2-yard poacher. Who knows? But at the moment, it's just not. He's not cutting it for me.
Okay.
Balogun deal makes it a bit like sort of, sorry to cut in there. Like the whole Balogun thing to me is just another. It's not even a reason why he should go. It's just an additional. It's a bonus. It's just seeing someone else come in and develop, and finally getting rid of him because he doesn't provide enough, and he's had enough chances. The way I see it, and Ketia gets enough game time to sort of have shown himself. So yeah, Leeds would be a good move for him, but then even there, I don't know because Leeds have got some talent in that squad, so it might be a good wake-up call for him to sort of improve and defeat the competition.
Okay. Couple more comments then. Pepe will be top goal scorer next season. Quite possibly. He wasn't far off being top goal scorer this season.
Which shows how bad we've been this season again.
Absolutely. Judge Dredd the Law, listening to this insightful conversation, I almost feel like a semi-intelligent human being. I'm humbled by all your insights. Thank you. I appreciate the feedback.
Thanks, Antonio.
Yeah, do you know what? We do our best to try and keep it sensible. We're not reactionary. We don't play up to the camera. We just talk how it is. NDB30 TV, thanks Eddie, but it's time to go. Poor man's inside. Brilliant.
Where do people get this stuff? Poor man's inside.
Fox in the box, absolutely. Zaha does more skills on his TikTok than on the pitch, so he can stay where he is. Thanks. Absolutely. And for me, if Tony leaves Brentford, Eddie would be the perfect replacement. He might work at a smaller team, but he could just as easy, like Brewster did at Sheffield United. Yeah, and I mean, Ryan Brewster went, a whole season and didn't score a goal after a 20-odd million pound move?
Yeah.
All right. There's only, I think, 2 more left that I have, and then we'll quickly take anybody else that we've forgotten. This guy we were linked with, who is Yuri Alberto, a Brazilian. I'm going to be completely honest, and I'll open this up to you guys in the chat if any of you have heard of him, because I hadn't until again this link came up. And I'll be honest, I looked at a couple of YouTube clips of him. He looks all right, but nothing for me, nothing phenomenal. And I think we're going to get the link with a lot of Brazilians, especially young Brazilians, because of the Edu situation. And there are some fantastic young Brazilians that we get linked with, but for me, this guy I don't think is necessarily one of them. Lottie, any insight on him? Have you seen much of him at all?
Again, he's another link. He's another one I had to look up on YouTube, admittedly. From what I can see, he's an indirect threat for set pieces. He's decent at aerial duels, making those key passes, but holding on to the ball is a different story. I mean, he's only 20, so I can't really complain or criticise him too much because I haven't watched him play properly. But he's nothing. Wow, yeah, we've got to have him in the team. So it'd be a no if we were offered. If we were going to go for him, I just think we should just pass for the moment.
Okay, Dan.
Yeah, I'm a bit the same as you two. I only sort of saw we were linked with him, and I think maybe Barcelona or something. So I was quite intrigued. I looked up YouTube like you do. But yeah, I agree with Lottie. I probably wouldn't. From what I've read, he's worth more than what we can afford to spend on a player that's just going to come on now and again because I think he's 18. He's young, but
He's 20.
Anything above 12 million or 10 million for me is not worth at the moment. I feel like we've got enough youngsters in there. Balogun being one of them, who we just touched on. I know we've some goods come out of these young Brazilians, Martinelli, of course. but even he's not getting game time anymore at the moment. So if this little guy came in, I don't see where he fits. Maybe he will in 5 years' time, but bigger fish to fry.
Absolutely. Just need to fill the starting 11 spots right now. CDM and right back, but otherwise reserves, right?
Yeah.
Potentially, yeah. Can we get rid of Edu? You know what? From all accounts, if Edu doesn't do it this summer, he is going to be shown the door. So he's got a big few weeks ahead of him. Eddie doesn't fit in Arteta's style of play, so he won't be a big loss. Absolutely. That's what I'm saying. He's not, he's a 5-yard player, and that isn't going to fit what we need. Just coming back to that one, NDB30 TV, how much can we get for him? As I say, the rumours are we're looking 15 to 20 for him. And, it's possible. I'm not sure we'll get 20, but I think we could get 15 for him. All right, let me just get this last one then for us. Now, this is another young Brazilian who, up until earlier on today, I had not heard of. And it was only when Lottie said to me about this one that I looked him up. And Lottie, I'm going to let you take the lead on this guy. So tell us who he is.
This is, I don't know if I'm pronouncing his first name right or wrong, but it's Caio Jorge. He's another Brazilian wonder kid. He's branded to be the next Neymar. Chelsea are sniffing around him because he's a centre forward. He's currently at Santos FC. He's worth about 10 million, mostly because I think he's an under 17s World Cup champion. He's made 16 appearances this season for Santos FC, 6 goals, 1 assist, about 170 minutes between each one. From what I've seen on YouTube, again, he's got a lot to learn. He's 19. And personally, I wouldn't take him because we've got Martinelli, we've got the Haaland boys. We don't need anyone else at the moment. Martinelli's struggling to get on as it is without another Brazilian coming in and him competing for that spot.
Dan?
Yeah, I'm going to echo that. Like I just said with the other fella, Alberto, I think there's already players there that we can rely on that are young and talented and Brazilian, or I don't know, Jamaican. It doesn't matter where they're from. They could be Jamaican for all I care, or anywhere. But I think in terms of youth and players with potential, that area is so covered. And these players are from teams that are probably going to want a couple of mil out of these players that are rising stars, shall you say. So is it worth it? No, probably not right now. And I if we're going to start signing these sort of players now, I want to at least see Martinelli getting more game time than what he is before we sort of enter that road, because it would just be a bit of not just a mockery. I think it would be a bit of an insult to bring these players in when you're not even giving people like Gabby their own game time. So yeah, no from me, unfortunately.
Okay. I'm going to be slightly different from you. Certainly of the two there that we looked at, of Yuri Alberto and this guy, Jorge, he would be the one of the two I would bring in if we were going to bring one of those two in. Again, as I say, I didn't know anything about him until I looked him up earlier on, and I don't know what it is. There's just something about him. I sort of look at and I think, yeah, he's a lot to learn, but I think he could be one. He's certainly one to look out for in the future, whether we sign him or not. I do think he is one to look out for. And I think it might be, for the sort of rumoured money that you'd be talking, you'd probably be picking him up for sort of 8 to 10 million. I think it might be one that might be worth a chance. But again, as we've said all along, these are all rumours, and we just don't know. Eddie just wants to make Arsenal in the Boca Juniors from the sound of it. Yeah, he does. We are linked with so many young South American players. It's what Eddie knows. He was did a sort of technical director role with the Brazilian national team. So he knows a lot of these young kids. He's seen them coming up through the ranks. You know, he's seen them at youth level. So you kind of you've got to think he does know, you know, these Brazilian kids. It's just whether you get them at the right price and they adapt quickly enough to the Premier League. And are they better than players we can bring in who are Premier League proven? That's the sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Well, listen, guys, that's all I have. Dan, is there any rumours you can think of that we potentially missed out on this week?
No. It looks like Xhaka's gone, which I don't want to go on to because it's I think it's probably the biggest topic where you get very different opinions. And yeah, we could be sat here till Euros is over if we started talking about it. But yeah, other than that, no, I don't think I've seen anything sort of pop up.
Okay. You guys in the chat, is there anybody else, any other rumours that you've seen this week that you want us to touch on? And while you're typing, Lottie, anybody you can think of?
No, not at all. I mean, Ko Jorge was just completely out of the blue for me. I think I picked that one up in a WhatsApp group, and then I saw someone mention it on Twitter. So that made me check him out and get you to add him to the list, really. Other than that, no.
Okay. So not so much a rumour, but would you take any of these guys, Kufal or Reece James, for right back?
Got to be Reece James.
Yeah,
the age
James.
difference is like 8 years, so just based on that alone. And Reece James is more versatile. Kufal plays in one position only, from what I know of him, anyway. But yeah, Reece James. I wish.
Okay. You echo that as well, Lottie, yeah?
Yeah, he's just so intelligent as a right back.
This is why I didn't want to bring up Xhaka. I'm not saying we shouldn't be getting rid of him. I'm just saying I think he'd be the last piece of the puzzle that I'd take off. That's all. Oh.
Well, listen, for anybody that watches this
one
show,
good season and 5. See you later.
Yeah.
Anybody that watches this show will know that I'll put him in a taxi next to Bellerin. Him, William, and Bellerin can share a taxi to the airport. Chris, the issue is yet another young player who might be good. We need players who are already good to make us better. There will be more players that we need 4 to 5 years and might not make it. Yeah, fair enough. Enjoyed the show panel. This work thing has been affecting my time listening live to the show. Stop work. Absolutely. Give up your day job and just talk to us. All right. Right, we've been on for an hour and 37 minutes. I think kind of need to sort of look at wrapping it up. If you do have any other questions or comments, drop them in the chat now. Lottie, you're obviously taking G's spot tonight. I know you've been looking forward to giving this a go all day. So do you want to take it away and tell people how they can get in contact with us?
Yep. They can follow us on Twitter at Canon Chatter. And then also if they want to follow you, Stephen, they can follow you on SB Canon Chatter, or if they want to follow G, who's not here tonight, can follow him at G Talks Arsenal, or if you want to follow me, you can find me with Lossie_B. Please note there's 2 I's in that. Again, on Facebook it's just Canon Chatter. Come and give us a like and keep up to date with everything. And on Instagram, it's Canon_Chatter. And also, if you want to have a read of my blogs from over the season, it's lottieafc.blogspot.co.uk. Make sure you subscribe and turn on the notifications and hit that like button as well. And then you'll never miss a show.
Excellent. Thank you, Lottie. Dan, just want to take this quick chance now to say thank you so much for coming on tonight. As I said at the start of the show, you know, we've been trying to get on something together again for a while now, and it's finally worked out for us tonight, and hopefully it won't be the last time. But if the guys that are watching want to follow you and listen to some of your stuff and watch some of your stuff, where can they find you?
Yeah, I mean, if you've enjoyed me waffling on tonight with these lot, Sideline Talk Pod on Twitter and Instagram and YouTube, we can be found Sideline Talk Podcast. Yeah, come check us out.
Excellent. Thank you.
No worries. Thanks for having me on, by the way, guys.
No problem. As I say, anytime. It's been great finally getting you on the show. Lee, Mason Holgate. Anybody having Mason Holgate?
Nope.
No.
No? All right.
Just no.
AFC pressure, when it's talking about the club, it isn't waffle. It's not, it's not, because as I say, I mean, I said it at the start of the show, these are rumours. We're talking about rumours, and what we know is less than 10% of these rumours probably have any truth in them. But we enjoy talking about them, and we enjoy having this debate and this conversation as to what it could mean for our club. And we do it because we love our club. So, if you've enjoyed it, make sure you hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and keep coming back, because we do this every week on a Monday night. Odegaard, guys, I mean, again, this is a difficult one because we don't know whether he's available or not, but it is heavily rumoured that he is still our top target. Do you want to see Odegaard back at the club?
I'd have him back on loan. I've said this before. Have him back on loan for another season and then see what happens, because he's disappeared a few times and it's a little concerning.
Yeah, I completely agree. I completely agree with that. Yeah, I'd have him back on loan. I don't think I've seen enough of him to spend the 50-60 million that he's apparently worth yet. So,
okay. Lee, no. I'm not sure if this is in regards to Odegaard or the one we're going to come back to in a wee second. Loan with option to buy. Yeah, I would take him back on loan. I think he only had a few months. And I think, put it this way, if we'd been signing him for the first time this summer on a permanent transfer, I think people would be quite gassed about the fact he's coming in and excited about it. So the fact that he had a couple of months to sort of acclimatise, brilliant performance in the last game of the season against Brighton. He had a couple of good games. Once he's in, playing regularly, I would loan, definitely, with an option to buy. Okay. So that was Odegaard. Sorry, you were talking about Lee. Okay. Right. Alexis Sanchez on a free. Do I need to start putting up pictures of my balloon modelling again? So this was one Lottie had put out last night. There was talk of Alexis Sanchez. I'm not sure that he is actually free, as in a free transfer. When they said he was free to leave, I think that maybe they're looking at a fee for him. But would you take him on a free, Dan?
I mean, I feel like my answer should be obvious, but no chance. Absolutely not. There's very few things that I'd make a last resort, and he is one. Like, he'd have to be a last resort for me. I think when we sold him to Man United, unfortunately, I was at the game where he came and, of course, scored against us. But it was even still after that, I think it was the best thing we've done, getting rid of him, because we had him at his fine peak, and we saw what he sort of showed at Barcelona, but at Inter Milan and even at Man United, he hasn't shown any of that. So no chance. I read somewhere that it was like a swap deal for Willian or something stupid daft. But it was like, Jesus, yeah, right. Just bring one bad. That's like getting one bad pudding and just someone taking it away and then bringing another bad pudding. I just wouldn't really understand. No, even on a free, it'd be a bad move, even if it was free. But like you say, it's probably going to cost us a few million. So no chance. I'm gonna echo what Lee said. No.
Sanchez and RVP don't get forgiveness. I'd rather take Madison, and again, I assume that's over Odegaard. And with a full stadium, he will make up his mind again on Odegaard. Okay, I think that's it. It's been a great show. Really enjoyed it. We're going to be back again next Monday night. I think it'll be next Monday night is planned to be Lottie and G next Monday night for the first time without me.
Yeah.
So that'll be interesting. I get to sit back and watch that, and I think you're going to do a rumour mill, but you're also going to kick off some Euros content as well. next week, so I'm looking forward to seeing that. I'm not sure if you're going to be back this week with a Lottie show or not. We'll talk about it and we'll see what we've got. We may be back with other things during the week. We'll see. Who knows? Have a good night and take it easy. Same to you. Great show, guys. I'll try and tune in again. Great. Make sure you've hit the subscribe button, turn on notifications, and drop a like on the video now. So yeah, we'll definitely be back next Monday night. We may be back before, but don't worry, we'll make sure and advertise it well. Again, Lottie, thanks very much for joining us again tonight. You're part of the team, as you know. We love you, so you're not going anywhere. Dan, thank you so much. Great having you on the show tonight. And with that, I will say good night and see you again.
Peace.